with Ozar every
and you're
Wednesday
welcome to
from
Rewind
4:30 to
with
5
Ozar.
p.m. Don't miss it.
Rewind with Ozar.
So I mean, it's been the international break, and yeah, I know like we've seen like the Super Eagles do well, 2 out of 2. Yes, the first game we had to wait all the way through to the end to get the goal, and I mean the most important thing is that we've qualified. So hopefully we go into the tournament now with so much more belief in ourselves. And but today it just got me thinking that for the longest time, yes, football is by far the number one sport you have in Nigeria. Or I could literally say the number one sport you have in all of Africa. And but during the weekend, we had the return of Formula One. We also had the NBA trade deadline. So NBA, like the basketball league in the US, the premier basketball competition, and we know we have lots of, I'll say, Nigerian players from with Nigerian relations or Nigerian heritage in playing in the NBA. Actually, currently, Giannis Antetokounmpo is the MVP of the league. So I said, why don't we this time talk about basketball, talk about Formula One, talk about boxing? In boxing, everyone pretty much knows who Anthony Joshua is. Anthony Joshua just signed a 2-match deal with Tyson Fury. We all know that this is like the fight everyone has been waiting for. In the history of boxing, we've really never had an undisputed heavyweight champion. We've never had a champion that's held all the belts, and this is something Joshua wants to do. Also, on the other side, you have this something Tyson Fury wants to do as well. Everyone knows if you look at skill, I always say styles make fights. That's something you say when you're talking about the sport of boxing. Is the different styles actually would give you an idea or an indication of how entertaining or not entertaining the fight could be. And in the case of AJ versus Fury having signed the two-match deal, is if you look at it skill for skill, if you would ask me my own 2 cents, my own opinion, is that Fury is actually the better skilled boxer. Fury is actually lighter on his feet. Fury moves a whole lot better. Fury uses his jab a whole lot better than AJ does. I think for many people who have watched AJ progress in his career as a professional boxer, for the longest time he was like a knockout artist. He was just going to go into the ring and he was just going to hit you so hard and he was just going to knock you out. And something happened. I think when he was fighting Joseph Parker, that was the very first fight I saw AJ actually stick to the sweet science of boxing, where he stuck behind his jab. He used his jab a whole lot more in that fight, used it a whole lot intelligently, and he was able to come out that fight victoriously. But then after his first loss to Andy Ruiz, everyone saw that in the first fight which AJ lost, his only loss so far in his career, AJ really just wanted to go there and rip Ruiz's head off. He hurt him early on and he wanted to go in for the kill. He got hit with the right hand from Ruiz and he was never able to recover from that. I think that's something he has learned. And I think, yes, I could say I'm a huge AJ fan. But I think that's something that would serve him well going into this fight against Tyson Fury. Given the fact that he has seen what would happen to him, or the potential danger when he gets so punch hungry or just wants to take the opponent out, is that situations like what happened to him against Andy Ruiz could happen. But then in the second fight, he hurt Ruiz a couple times, but he still stuck behind his jab and he was able to like pick Ruiz off, pick his spots, know when to go on the attack, know when to just stay behind the jab and be patient with it. And most times that's what you have to do as a boxer, as a skilled boxer. Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time, actually did this all his career. I know everyone is going to if you talk about Muhammad Ali, what comes to everyone's mind is the rope-a-dope against Judge Foreman, where everyone thought Judge Foreman was going to just knock him lights out, but he rope-a-doped Judge Foreman, took him down to the later stages of the fight, and was able to get his victory as well. So I'd like to hear your own 2 cents. So if you watch boxing, if you're a boxing fan, tell me what you think about this two fight deal that's been signed with Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. Do you think Joshua is going to come out victorious, or do you think there are some weaknesses you still see in AJ's game that you think Fury is going to get hold of? So just calling, give us your 2 cents. You can call in on 0700000889. It's 0700000889, and you can also get us on all our social media platforms. Is on Facebook, Sports Radio Brilla FM. On Twitter is Brilla FM 889, and on Instagram it's Brilla FM 889, and on YouTube you have Brilla Sports TV. So calling, tell me what you think about this fight. Hello. Hello. Okay, so also just talking about a different sport that it's not football this time, is talking about the NBA. Like I said, Giannis is the reigning MVP. We all know that Giannis has his roots in Nigeria. His parents are actually Nigerian as well. Hello?
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good evening.
Yeah, hello, yeah, you're on the Rewind Show also. Who am I talking to?
Yeah, this is Ibrahim.
Hello, Ibrahim.
Yeah, well done.
So Ibrahim, so tell me, I'm doing good. So today we're talking about the 2-fight deal that's been signed between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. So, what do you think? How do you see this fight going? Do you think there are some weaknesses in AJ's game? Do you think that Fury is definitely going to be able to exploit as well?
It's going to be a tough fight because the two boxers are a very good boxers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but me, because what is it called? AJ is African. I'm going to look for AJ.
100%, I agree. No, I think we should root for him. But do you think there are some weaknesses, like, or is there something in Fury's game you think Joshua should be really worried about?
The second fight against Hughes, where he collected his best back.
Yeah.
I think he can bring up that kind of fight, defend well, and know when to attack. I think it's going to big time. What is it? Tyson Fury. But you know, Fury is this boxer that I don't know. We know what he did to Deontay Wilder the other time.
Yeah.
How he dismantled Deontay Wilder. I wouldn't like that to happen to AJ.
I mean, but it's fair to say, you know, like when you were talking about AJ's second fight against Ruiz, that's the type of fights we've really never seen Deontay Wilder have. Deontay Wilder is still the same. He's that one punch kind of guy. He just has that right hand, and when he hits you, you're definitely going down most times. So I think if you look at skill, the heavyweight division for me, I think I would have, in terms of skill, I have Fury 1, have AJ 2. I actually have Dylan White in front of Deontay Wilder as well. Because, I mean, most of us saw Dylan White beat Alexander Povetkin during the weekend. And he's someone I think that is definitely dangerous in that division as well.
Yeah, I also think the first fight that this guy lost, AJ lost to Ruiz, he learned a lot from me.
Yeah.
That's why that second fight, he didn't came out for Ruiz. I think if you can do that against Tyson Fury, maybe he can be victorious. But I won't lie to you, I'm not 100% sure. It's going to be a hard one.
All right, thank you, Brian. I agree with you. Thank you, Brian, for calling.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something, personally, like Ibrahim said, you can never be too sure. The heavyweight division is one division where one single punch can change everything. I mean, I was just talking about Dylan White getting his belts back against Alexander Povetkin during the weekend. And he lost it simply because in the fourth round of the last fight, or the first fight, he had Povetkin down every single time. But then Povetkin got like a left uppercut to the chin, and that was it. That was 9-9 from Dylan White. So it's one division where one single punch can change where the belts go or the direction of the fight. But I think it's something AJ has definitely learned from, and I think it's definitely made him a better fighter, having lost before as well. Hello?
Hello, good afternoon, Ozo.
Hello, good afternoon. You're on the Ryan Show. Also, who am I talking to?
Imo Fabi, Mommy Ronaldo.
Oh, hi, hello. Hope your day is going good.
Yeah, I'm fine. And you?
Oh, it's going great. So today we're talking about the AJ Tyson Fury two matches that have been made. So I don't know if you're a boxing fan, what do you think, or how do you see this fight going as well?
I'm not going to lie. I'm already scared for Joshua because if I remember the fight against Wilder, Fury and Wilder, I'm scared for my brother. I'm scared for Joshua.
But you know, Fury actually, he isn't like a heavy puncher. Fury is someone that is going to outbox you. He's going to stick behind the jab.
Hello?
He's going to sleep. Can you hear me?
Can you say that again? I can't hear you.
That's it. So Fury has never been a heavy puncher. He's someone that is always going to outbox you. If I see Fury winning this fight, I see him going to like 12 rounds to have to win this fight. I don't think he's going to be able to knock AJ out. He has never had like the heaviest punch in the division. It's never been his thing. He's going to outbox most of his opponents. So in terms of AJ's safety, of course you're always going to be worried that one punch could end everything. But in terms of his safety, I'm not that worried. The part that worries me the most is actually when it comes to the skill of both boxers. Who is going to be able to outfox or outsmart the other person? That's how I see these fights going. If there's somebody that could knock the other person out, I think it's AJ stands a better chance of knocking Fury out than Fury stands of knocking AJ out as well.
But to my view, it goes to the stamina between the both boxers. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, like Fury is the bigger guy. Yes, Fury is probably going to come into that fight weighing by the time they hydrate before the fight, Fury may be weighing like maybe 280, 285. I think AJ may be maximum after hydrating, maybe 260. But the thing is, it's all about AJ making sure that he doesn't let Wilder put all his weight on him and tire him out. So if AJ is going to get,
also about his tactics, he has to change his tactics.
I don't think he needs to
From
change
his
it.
last fight.
The last caller Ibrahim made a very valid point where he said if AJ uses the same style he used against Ruiz the second time, that could serve him well in this fight against Fury. And I think that's a smart way for him to box Fury, which is don't get punch hungry, be smart, stay behind your jab, and just try and see what's his name Fury wants to do as well.
Okay, I'll go with your view. It's all good. I wish him all the best.
With that's all we can do is just we have to hope and pray. That's all we have to do as AJ supporters as well.
Okay.
All right, thank you for calling.
You too. Have a nice day.
All right, you too.
Yeah, bye.
All right, so we're going to go on a break, and when we'll be back, we're going to be talking about the NBA trade deadline. Is which teams do we think got better? Do we think the Lakers got better? Do we think they're going to be able to repeat and hold on to their championship? Or do we think the Clippers or the Brooklyn Nets are going to stand a chance to win the NBA Finals? Stay tuned, and we'll be back on the Rewind Show with also.
There can only be one. Sports Radio, 88.9, Britain FM.
get my money.
Welcome back to the Rewind Show. Where we've been talking about boxing. It's all about boxing. It's all about Anthony Joshua. It's all about his fight against Tyson Fury. It's that whole thing behind our heads. Where do we think he's going to get outboxed, or do we think he's going to get knocked out? Now, and for me, in my own opinion, I think it's the only fear I do have for AJ in this fight is if he gets outboxed. I think if you look at both fighters and their knockout ratios, I think AJ for me is the one. He carries the most power, and he definitely stands a better chance of knocking Fury out than Fury has of knocking him, AJ, out as well. So calling and give us your 2 cents. Now in the NBA, the trade deadline reached, and most of the teams made their trades. The Lakers definitely, for me, got better by adding Andre Drummond to their squad. They needed someone who could play better in the interior, who could rebound more, get more rebounds for them in the paint, get more paint points. We all know that this season they've been plagued with like injuries. LeBron has been out, AD has been out, Schroeder has been out for a little bit as well. So it's all about could they be able to repeat and still remain as NBA champions. We all know what Brooklyn have been doing since they have KD, they have James Harden, they have Kyrie Irving, they added Blake Griffin, and then also in the deadline they added LaMarcus Aldridge as well. So you have some, if I could call them perennial all-stars that the Nets have added to their team. And then that's that whole thing where you have lots of players now coming together or ganging up to try and win championships. And I know there's that whole argument that, okay, LeBron James started the whole thing about having players come together. But I always say, and I have this whole feeling that if teams can do it, then the players can do it as well. If the teams can go and trade for players and put these teams together, then why can't players come together on their own to form their own teams? We had the big three the Celtics had, where they had Paul Pierce, they had Ray Allen, and they had I'm forgetting his name, is skipping my head now, but they had like three. They had Kevin Garnett. Thank you. They had Kevin Garnett. So they had like a big three already. This was long before LeBron went to team up with D Wade and Chris Bosh at Miami. And then obviously in the later times now we've had Golden State with KD, Steph, Klay Thompson, and also Draymond Green as well. So it's all about the game has changed. We all say Steph Curry changed the game, where you're having more perimeter players now, and LeBron with his skill set, LeBron likes to. I see him as a point forward. He's always listed as a power forward when you're looking at where his position is meant to be. But to me, he's more like a point guard or a point forward. So he handles the ball most of the time. He makes most of the decisions, and his skill set is for me is the best basketballer of all time when it comes to trying to get to the rim. Because he's like a freight train. He runs straight to the rim, and he could always kick it out to players on the perimeter to make shots. And that's what he needs to. That's what he needs to win. And with the way the Lakers are built now, I don't think for me this is like the best cast he has to be able to retain the championship. Looking at what Brooklyn have done, and also looking at what the Clippers are doing too. The problem where I feel the Clippers have when it comes to their matchup against the Lakers is they don't have that big man, because that big center, that big player who could protect them when it comes to the paint and rebounds, because AD can punish any person that he puts in the paint. Same thing with Andre Drummond joining in now. Drummond can actually punish any person that the Clippers put in the paint as well. So I think that's where the deficiency I see with the Clippers. Hopefully for myself, I've always been a KD fan, and I hope the Nets actually win the championship. But today's always about boxing. So we're going to take one more call, and just tell us what you think about the fight with AJ against Tyson Fury. Do you think AJ stands the best chance to win? Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello. Good evening.
Hi, Ozo. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. You're on the wrong show with Ozo. So tell me, what do you think about the AJ Tyson Fury matchup?
My head tells me Tyson Fury is going to beat him. My heart tells me that AJ will win.
So I'll tell you to follow your heart.
So I'm going to follow my heart.
Exactly, that's what you should do.
The thing is that there's one thing I am counting on, and it's that Tyson Fury actually underestimates AJ's boxing nose. That is, his ability to learn, his ability to change his game.
Yeah.
And I'm banking on that being the reason why Tyson Fury loses this. But if Tyson comes with the same mindset he destroyed Wilder, then AJ would have to lose this one by unanimous decision.
I hope for all our sakes that AJ definitely wins. Thank you for calling as well. Yeah.
You're welcome. And on basketball, Brooklyn Nets all the way.
You're my guy already. Thanks, man. Cheers for calling. So before I go, I'm just going to end by saying something since today we've been talking about boxing, so it's only fit that I say a quote from the GOAT, the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali. He said, "I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit, suffer now, and live the rest of your life as a champion." This is something we should do in our everyday life. Thank you for being on the Rewind Show with Ozo, and I'll see you next week.
Rewind with Ozo.
You've had enough of those corporate updates. Your network fillers sound like. Take your games to the next level.